Welcome back to Special Educators Resource Room Podcast. This is Jennifer from Positively Learning. I'm so glad that you're here. Today's episode is going to be a little bit lighter because it's the end of the school year. Everyone's tired. Students are tired. Teachers are tired. Families are tired. So instead of doing a super deep systems dive episode today, I thought it would be fun to do an end of year classroom this or that. Basically, 2 classroom choices. And which one I would personally lean toward in a special education classroom setting this time of year and why. Not because there's one perfect way to teach and not because anyone asked me, but because by this time of year, certain things tend to make classrooms feel calmer and certain things tend to accidentally make the day feel harder. So let's walk through a few. Let's kick it off with a good one. Theme days versus one predictable fun activity. I know, I'm already showing my bias. I know Spirit Weeks and end of year themes can be really fun, but they also can be so exhausting because every single day has a different theme and different expectations and different supplies and different transitions. And by Thursday, everyone's confused. So I personally would like to lean towards one clear, fun, chaotic activity. One predictable celebration, like the field day or whatever it's going to be. One big thing students can look forward to without turning it into an entire week of chaos, especially for students and adults who really rely on routine. This next one's a fun one. Cleaning and packing up everything by yourself versus letting students help. So some end of year cleanup can quietly become teachers doing the work in the background while students watch movies. And there is no judgment. You do what you have to do. But I personally think students can help more than that, even younger students. Students on my caseload were usually around first grade. And I had them doing simple jobs, sorting crayons, broken versus unbroken, wiping down tables, organizing books, matching supplies, packing bins, things that could become meaningful routines. And our classroom felt like a community. And students were participating and they were excited because they knew the next set of students were going to see all of the things that they got to use. I don't know why, but it felt like so much fun and students were so excited about it. Now, I would never, ever ask students to do this. They were usually asking me how they could help. This next one is interesting. End of year gifts versus simple personal notes. Now, I know teachers put so much heart into end of year gifts. And if gifts bring you joy, that is your love language. Yes, absolutely do them. But if they don't bring you joy, they might even bring you stress or feelings of guilt. I'm giving you permission to personally skip it. I think students remember the feeling more than actual items. So what I like to do is take the student work that was being displayed. Often we have some type of photo, whether it's a group of students in the photo that I can make copies of, just color copies, or it's a specific photo of that student, and I'll put that on top like a cover. Maybe I have Post-it notes that are in the shape of hearts and I can write a quick message, or it could be like a little postcard, and that is the gift. I think that means so much. I know families like it because they get to see all of those things that were hanging up on the wall, and the hidden benefit, your classroom's getting cleaner at the same time. Ooh, this next one might stir up some feelings. I have been speaking about this for years. It's the countdown chains versus last week language. So I taught in Baltimore City, and I personally thought that students would benefit from being in school all year round, just for safety, for the routines, for the relationships, just for so many reasons. I think that would have been really helpful, but we did not. And you could see anxiety building with some students as we were getting closer to summer. You could also see it with weekends, long weekends, or breaks during the school year. So I always avoided student countdowns, and I can completely understand why teachers do them. The end of the year is exciting. Students are excited. Teachers are excited. But for many, it can just create more anxiety than excitement. I started sharing my feelings about countdowns many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, on my blog and on social media, and you would not believe people were not happy. They said I was spoiling their fun. Some people reached out to me, said I was shaming teachers, and of course, that was absolutely not my intention. I felt horrible about it. However, I'm an advocate. I have to advocate for my students and families. Nowadays, I see these countdown warnings coming out more and more. Every year, there's a few more this time of year, and I'm happy to see them. It seems like we've come a long way on awareness that they might be producing more anxiety. So what can you do instead of a countdown? Oftentimes, I would just suggest leaning towards more, we're in our last week together. We have a few more days together. Let's make this week feel really good. It's the same reality. It's just a different emotional tone. Let's wrap it up with one more. Brand new activities versus familiar favorites. Now, you know what I'm going to choose, right? At the end of the year, you think I'm going to choose familiar favorites every time, but that's not necessarily true. Yes, familiar routines and games and independent work and activities students already know what to do can require a little bit less energy from teachers because students already know where to start and what to do and what happens next, and it can keep everything feeling calm. This is really important because we're already overstimulated, schedules get kind of weird, assemblies are appearing out of nowhere. It's nice to have something predictable. But now I'm going to completely contradict myself. Sometimes at the end of the year, it's a great time to try brand new activities because things are already crazy. They can't get much crazier. If you try a brand new activity and it flops, you can just make it disappear. We're never going to do that again. But you could get feedback. If students loved it, it felt pretty good, it aligned with whatever you were trying to do, you're going to say, okay, that might be something I'm going to put in my back pocket so that next school year we can bring this back out earlier in the school year for students to do. So as much as I believe in predictable, familiar routines, I also take advantage of the chaos and I try some brand new things just to try them out. Thank you so much for reaching the end of this podcast episode. It didn't really feel lighter like the end of the year episode I was hoping for, but I would like to know, what is one classroom, this or that opinion that you have at the end of the school year? I feel like teachers have so many. You'll have to let me know. And I wanted to say, congratulations. You have made it a long way through this school year. That is huge, and I'm cheering you on. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time in the Special Educators Resource Room. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'm dying to ask, what'd you think? Be sure to hit the follow or subscribe buttons so that you never miss an episode. You can find the show notes and links for everything mentioned in this episode at positivelylearningblog.com. See you next week for more special education solutions.